My husband thought I'd disappear quietly when he left me for someone half my age. He moved his 28-year-old girlfriend into our house, changed the locks, and told me to move on gracefully. What they didn't know was that I still owned half of everything, and I was about to teach them both a lesson they'd never forget. Before we dive in, drop a comment and let me know what time zone you're watching from. Now let me tell you how I turned their dream into their worst nightmare. I was 52 when Marcus threw away 24-year soft marriage like yesterday's newspaper. We were sitting in our living room, the same room where I'd nursed him through pneumonia, celebrated his promotions, and watched our daughter take her first steps. He couldn't even look at me when said it. Just stared at his phone and mumbled, "Carmen, I think we want different things now." Different things. After 2 decades of building a life together, I sacrificed my career in marketing when our daughter was born because his job required travel. He managed our finances, renovated our home, took care of his diabetic father for 3 years without a single complaint. But apparently none of that mattered when he met Jessica at some corporate conference. She was 28, fresh out of business school with the kind of energy that made him feel young again. He didn't even try to hide it. Within a month of asking for the divorce, he was posting Instagram stories of them at fancy restaurants, weekend getaways, wine tastings in Sonoma. Meanwhile, I was eating frozen dinners alone in the house we built together, surrounded by 24 years of memories that suddenly felt like lies. Our daughter Maya tried to stay neutral. She was 23, working her first job, caught between loving us both and hating what we'd become. "I can't choose sides, Mom," she told me over coffee one Tuesday morning. "I understand, baby," I said, "but sometimes life chooses for you." Then the audacity happened. One Thursday morning, I found an envelope slipped under my door. Not from Marcus, from her. Jessica had written me a letter on cream-colored stationery like she was planning a brunch. It read, "Dear Carmen, Marcus and I would appreciate it if you could arrange to collect your remaining items by this weekend. We're planning to redecorate and would prefer a fresh start without any complications. Thank you for understanding. Jessica Chen Rodriguez." Jessica Chen Rodriguez. She'd already hyphenated her name with my husband's name, moved into my house, and had the nerve to call me a complication. I sat at my kitchen table, the one I'd refinished by hand 5 years ago, and something inside me shifted. Not sadness, not even anger, something colder, something more dangerous. I picked up my phone and called my cousin Rita, who'd been practicing family law for 15 years. When I explained what happened, she got quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "Carmen, please tell me you're still on the deed to that house." "Of course I am," I said. "Marcus never got around to refinancing." Rita's voice changed, became sharper, more focused, "and he never bought out your half of the equity." "No," he said, "that IT was too much paperwork." "Carmen," she said slowly, "you realize you can foresee a sale of that property. It's called a partition action. They'd have to either buy you out or lose the house entirely." I stared out my window at the rose garden I'd planted 3 springs ago. The same roses I tended while Marcus worked late nights that I now realized weren't always about work. "What does that mean exactly?" "Yes. It means," Rita said, "that if they can't afford to pay you for your half, they'll have to sell, and if they refuse to cooperate, the court will force them out." I didn't say anything for a full minute. Then I whispered, "How fast can we move?" Rita laughed. Not a happy laugh, but the kind of laugh that means business. "I can have the paperwork filed by Friday." "Do it," I said. "Marcus called me that weekend." His voice tight with fake concern. "Carmen, what's this about lawyers? Why are you making this so complicated?" "I'm not making anything complicated, Marcus. I'm just claiming what's legally mine." He tried his old manipulation tactics, told me I was being bitter, that I needed to let him be happy, that Jessica was feeling uncomfortable with my presence in their lives. I didn't raise my voice. I just said, "Then maybe she shouldn't have moved into a house that still has a me name on the title." The line went quiet. Then he hung up. But Jessica had something to say. She sent me a long text message that night full of spelling errors and crocodile tears. She said I was holding on to the past and blocking their happiness. She said Marcus deserved someone who appreciated his potential and that I was being selfish and vindictive. I screenshotted the message and sent it straight to Rita with a note. Evidence of harassment. Let's turn up the hate. Rita filed the official court documents the next Monday. Clean, precise, and absolutely bulletproof. The petition was served to both of them simultaneously. Marcus at his office, Jessica at my house. I wasn't there to see their faces, but Rita's paralegal said Marcus went pale and had to sit down. That's when I decided to pay Theme a little visit. Not to cause drama, to collect my things. Just like Jessica's precious letter had suggested. Except I didn't knock. I used my key, the one Marcus forgot I still had because he was too busy playing house to think about security. I walked into my own living room and stopped cold. Everything was wrong. My family photos were gone, replaced with black and white prints of random cities. My grandmother's quilt was missing from the couch. The walls were painted some trendy gray that looked like a doctor's office. I could hear music coming from upstairs. Some pop song I didn't recognize. Then Jessica appeared at the top of the staircase in Marcus's old college t-shirt. The one I used to wear when I was sick. She froze when she saw me. "What are you doing here?" she demanded, collecting my belongings, I said calmly, holding up her letter. "Just like you requested." Her face flushed red. "You were supposed to call first. We have boundaries now." I walked past her toward the bedroom, slow and deliberate. "Well, sweetheart, as long as my name is on this deed, I'll come and go as I please." She followed me like an angry puppy, arms crossed, huffing dramatically. I packed quietly a few boxes of books, some jewelry from my mother, photo albums Jessica had clearly planned to throw away. I could feel her watching my every move, probably planning what she'd say to Marcus when he got home. As I was loading the last box into my car, she couldn't help herself. She stepped onto the porch and said loud enough for the neighbors to hear. "This is really sad. You know, clinging to a man who doesn't want you anymore." I stopped and turned around slowly. "Honey," I said with a smile. "I'm not clinging to anything. I'm just collecting what's mine. But you might want to start packing because this house is about to be sold." Her mouth fell open. I got in my car and drove away, leaving her standing there like a scarecrow in a thunderstorm. That night, Rita called with an update. The court accepted the partition action. They have 30 days to respond with either a buyout offer or a consent to sale. What if they try to fight it? Yes, they can try, Rita said. But the law is the LA do. You own half that house and they can't change that with wishful thinking. Marcus called me the next morning at 6 a.m. I let it go to voicemail. Then again at 7, then 8, then 9. Finally, I answered. "Carmen, we need to talk. This is insane." "I'm listening." I said, "You can't just force us to sell our home." "Our home," I repeated. "Marcus, it stopped being our home the minute you moved her in." His voice cracked slightly. "We can't afford to buy you out right now. Jessica's still looking for work and I've got the divorce lawyer fees." "Sounds like a personal problem," I said. "Maybe you should have thought about the financial implications before you started playing house." He tried a different approach. Guilt mixed with nostalgia. "Carmen, we built something beautiful together. Don't let it end like this." "You ended it," I reminded him. "I'm just making sure it ends fairly." Then I hung up and blocked his number. 2 days later, Jessica called me crying. Actually, crying like someone had stolen her favorite toy. "Please, Carmen," she sobbed into the phone. "You're ruining everything. We love this house. We're rebuilding a life here." "You built a life on my foundation," I said calmly. "Now you get to find out what it feels like when the ground shifts beneath your feet." She tried begging, bargaining, even threatening to expose me on social media for being a bitter ex-wife. I laughed at that one. "Go ahead, honey. Tell the world how the bitter ex-wife is exercising her legal rights." From that point forward, I let Rita handle everything. I didn't respond to texts, emails, or dramatic voicemails. I just sat back and watched the dominoes fall. They hired a lawyer, some cheap guy who probably advertised on bus benches. He tried to challenge the partition action, claiming I was acting in bad faith. The judge looked at our deed, our mortgage documents, and Marcus' own signed divorce papers that made no mention of property division. Miss Rodriguez remains a legal co-owner, the judge said. Unless both parties agree to alternative arrangements, the property will be sold. Rita squeezed my hand under the table. I kept my face neutral, but inside I was dancing. They had 60 days to either buy 'em out or get out. I already knew they couldn't do either. Jessica wasn't working. Marcus' salary was the same as when we were married. And now they had legal fees eating into their budget. I drove past the house one evening and saw a for sale by owner sign crooked in the front yard. They were trying to avoid realtor fees, probably hoping to rush a sale and minimize their losses. But I wasn't about to let them sell my house for peanuts. Rita made some calls, and suddenly their DIY approach wasn't working so well. Potential buyers kept asking questions they couldn't answer. Home inspections revealed issues they'd ignored. The market was tough, and karma doesn't negotiate. Within 2 weeks, the homemade sign was replaced with a professional realtor's placard. Someone Rita knew. Someone who understood that this was a court-ordered sale at fair market value. No sweetheart deals. No family discounts. No shortcuts. Jessica started posting cryptic messages on social media. Some people never learn to let go. Bitterness is a poison you drink, hoping others will suffer. The comments were full of heart emojis and stay strong messages from people who had no idea what was really happening. I wasn't on social media anymore. I deactivated everything the day I filed the paperwork. I didn't need an audience for my victory. By week 4, an offer came in. Full asking price, cash deal, 15-day closing. The buyers were a young military couple with twin toddlers who fell in love with the backyard playground Marcus had built for Maya 20 years ago. Rita called me before she called anyone else. They want a fast closing. 2 weeks. Perfect. I said I was getting my nails done a deep red color called Final Notice. I liked the symbolism. Marcus tried calling me one last time before the closing. I didn't answer, but I listened to the voicemail later. Carmen, please. This is bigger than just us. You don't want to destroy the place where we raised our daughter, where we had Christmas mornings, where his voice broke. You're taking everything for the first time. He said it out loud, acknowledging that he and Jessica were a unit now, a team facing the consequences together. Unfortunately for them, teamwork doesn't pay mortgages, and karma doesn't accept IOUs. The day of closing, they had to be out of the house for 6 hours while the final inspection took place. Rita told Method requested an extension to finish packing, but the buyers had already scheduled movers. There was no more time left. When they walked out of that house for the last time, they weren't homeowners anymore. They were just 2 people with suitcases and a hard lesson about other people's property. Me. I was $425,000 richer after fees and taxes. Marcus finally showed up at my apartment complex 3 days after closing. He looked smaller somehow, not physically, but like life had finally caught up with his choices. I came to ask you something, he said when I opened the door. I crossed my arms and waited. Can you help us with a security deposit? We found a place but we're short. I stared at him for a full 10 seconds. You want me to help you move into your new life with her? He raised his hands defensively. I know how it sounds, but we didn't think you'd actually go through with it. We thought you'd eventually calm down and what? Disappear quietly so you could play house without consequences. He looked down at his shoes, the same Italian leather ones I'd bought him for his 45th birthday. Carmen, you've never been vindictive before. I'm not being vindictive, Marcus. I'm being strategic. There's a difference. He shifted uncomfortably. Jessica's staying with her mom in Phoenix. I'm in a motel near the airport. Where's the love now? Yes. I thought you two were soulmates. His jaw tightened. Don't point out that your great romance collapsed the minute things got difficult. He looked up at me then, and for a second I saw the man I'd married 24 years ago, tired, defeated, but still hoping for mercy he hadn't earned. I know I hurt you, he said quietly, but this is cruel. Cruel. I stepped closer to the doorframe. Cruel is moving your girlfriend into our house before our divorce was finalized. Cruel is letting her send me letters like I was some stranger. Cruel is 24 years of marriage thrown away for someone young enough to be our daughter. He had nothing to say to that. Just nodded slowly like a man accepting his sentence. When he walked away, I didn't feel sorry for him. Felt free. The house sold to that young military family, and they sent me a photo 6 months later. Their twins playing on the same swing set Marcus had built. Their garden blooming with new flowers I'd never seen before. That made me smile. The house deserved love again. Real love. Not the performance Marcus and Jessica had been putting on. I took that money and did something Marcus never expected. I invested it wisely. Bought a small but modern townhouse in my name. Put the rest in index funds and a retirement account. The count would grow for the next 20 years. I also did something else he'd never understand. I donated $75,000 to a legal aid fund for women going through difficult divorces. Anonymous, no plaque, no recognition, just a quiet contribution to help other women who might not know they have options. The fund director wrote me a thank you letter saying the donation had helped 8 women escape bad situations. 3 of them used it to fight for fair property settlements. 2 got custody of their children. 1 started her own business with the money she recovered. That's what real victory looks like. Not just winning your own battle, but lighting the way for others still fighting in the dark. I moved to a quiet town in Colorado where nobody knows me as Marcus's ex-wife or Jessica's rival here. I'm just Carmen, the woman who volunteers at the animal shelter, who makes the best Tres Lex cake in town, who teaches SL classes at the community center. People here see me as I am, note as what I survived. Every few months I get emails from old friends asking how I'm doing. Sometimes it's genuine concern. Sometimes it's disguised gossip. And once it was Marcus. He sent me a message last Christmas with the subject line, "I'm sorry for everything." I deleted it without reading it. Some doors once closed should stay locked forever. But I didn't just disappear into my new life. I started writing not about revenge or heartbreak, but about rebuilding. I published a small book called The Deed in Your Name, sharing the legal strategies women can use to protect themselves during divorce. It's not a bestseller, but it's helped dozens of women understand their rights. One reader wrote to tell me she recovered $300,000 she didn't even know she was entitled to. Another said my book helped her keep the house her ex-husband tried to steal. That's the legacy I wanted. Not destruction, but protection. Not just for me, but for every woman who's been told to move on gracefully while someone else profits from her sacrifice. Sometimes I sit on my back patio, morning coffee in hand, watching the sunrise over the mountains. And I think about that day Marcus asked for a divorce. If you'd told me then that his betrayal would lead to the most empowered chapter of my life, I'd have laughed through my tears. But that's exactly what happened. He thought he was discarding me for a newer model. Instead, he freed me to discover what I was worth, not just financially but spiritually. Jessica learned that building happiness on someone else's ashes will always leave you homeless in the end. Marcus learned that loyalty isn't something you can replace with excitement. And I learned that quiet women aren't weak women. We're just choosing our battles carefully. Now, when people ask me for advice about cheating spouses or difficult divorces, I don't tell them to get even. I tell them to get smart. Know your worth. Know your rights. And never let anyone convince you that being kind means being stupid. The house where Marcus and Jessica thought they'd build there forever. It's full of laughter again, but not theirs. The money they thought I'd never fight for. It's growing in accounts they'll never see. Funding dreams they'll never share. And me, I sleep peacefully in a bed that's entirely mine. In a house where every door, every key, every deed has only my name on it. I don't check social media to see what they're doing now. I don't drive past their new address or ask mutual friends for updates because the best revenge isn't making them miserable. It's making them irrelevant. My name is Carmen Rodriguez. I was divorced, disrespected, and underestimated. And then I reminded them legally, financially, and permanently exactly who they were dealing with. They bet against the wrong woman. And now I leap well, laugh often, and never answer calls from unknown numbers. But the story doesn't end there. About 6 months after I settled into my new life, I got call from Maya. She'd been keeping tabs on her father, and what she told me was both satisfying and sad. Marcus had been jumping from one rental to another, never staying anywhere more than a few months. His credit was shot from the legal fees and the rushed move. Jessica, she'd moved back to Phoenix permanently, but not before posting a long social media rant about toxic women who can't let go. The comments weren't kind. Turns out people had figured out what really happened. Maya told me Marcus looked older, tired, like a man who'd finally realized the cost of his choices. He asks about you sometimes. She said, wants to know if you're happy. I smiled into the phone. Tell him I'm thriving. And I was. That winter I started dating again, not because I was lonely, but because I was ready. His name was David, a widowed veterinarian who treated my volunteer work at the animal shelter like it was the most important job in the world. He didn't need to know about Marcus or Jessica or partition actions. He just needed to know me as I was. Confident, independent, unbreakable. Our first real conversation happened over coffee when he asked what I did before moving to Colorado. I was married, I said simply. And then I wasn't. He laughed, not at me but with understanding. The best chapters start after the worst endings. He said, I knew then that some people enter your life to teach you what you don't deserve, and others show up to remind you what you do owe. David was the latter. We took it slow. No rushing, no moving in together, no shared bank accounts. I'd learned the value of keeping some things sacred. Meanwhile, my book, The Deed in Your Name, started gaining traction. Women were sharing it in divorce support groups, recommending it to friends going through separations. I got invited to speak at legal seminars, women's conferences, even a few podcasts. Each time I told my story, I saw the same recognition in women's eyes, the realization that they had more power than they knew. One woman approached me after a seminar in Denver and said, I thought I had to choose between being nice and being strong. You don't. I told her. You can be both, but never confuse kindness with being a doormat. She nodded, tears in her eyes, and I saw myself 5 years earlier, broken but not beaten. That's when I knew my real purpose wasn't just surviving Marcus' betrayal. It was helping other women transform their pain into power. I established a small consulting practice, helping women navigate property rights during divorce. Not full legal representation, Rita handled that part, but education strategy support. The first client was a teacher whose husband had moved his secretary into their family farm. She'd been married 31 years and thought she had no options because his name was on the business license. After 2 sessions, she discovered she owned half the land, half the equipment, and half the livestock.